Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Versus Live. I am Todd Anderson, of course, joined by
Ross Merriam.
And we got Rob over in the booth taking your questions, and as well as just keeping the whole show running. So big shout out to Rob. Thanks, dude. Much appreciated.
It's fun being here.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
I can tell because
Thanks,
you
man.
sound so excited.
So today we have been playing my Temur Reclamation deck through a gauntlet, featuring a lot of these new cards from War of the Spark in preparation for SCG Richmond this weekend. Ross's deck that he played on Tuesday did the same thing, where we did Esper midrange with Hero Precinct 1, a bunch of multicolored cards, and we ran that through 3 decks. And now we got 3 other decks that we also think are going to show up. We've already done Sultai midrange and Esper control, and right now I tied against Sultai midrange, which is weird. I think I'm supposed to be a little bit favored.
I think you're
and then
supposed to be
I
heavily
beat
favored.
Esper control, which I think I'm not favored against. Like I lose to that deck like quite a bit.
I think you're favored game 1, but then behind games 2 and 3 in Esper. So that matchup's close,
Sure.
and you're slightly behind. So, you win some, you lose some. The wins didn't come exactly the way you thought they would,
Yeah.
but they've come. You're up 1-0-1. Worst you can do is tie. And
but tying leaves you with the marbles, and that's not acceptable. And that's why we played a 4th game in the first match. I hate you.
this is going to be a tough test.
Yeah, this is bad.
Yeah, generally the Temur decks struggle against aggression, and you don't really have a lot of life gain against a mono red deck where I'm just going to burn you out. So the pressure is going to be on you to really close the game quickly.
Yep.
And fortunately, I think Ral is going to help you do that.
Yeah, and plus it has 6 loyalty, and if I play it on turn 3 off of Growth Spiral and tick up, there's very little incentive for you to send 6 damage at Ral. So I have to imagine that you're just going to leave it alone, and then I might just get the combo kill you with a Wilderness Reclamation and Explosion. Or, we saw the small ball game where I just, hit you with a bunch of Ral's outbursts. Every time you minus Ral and cast an outburst, it's 8 damage, and you get to dig for 2 more cards, which is crazy. And I could see a world where I actually get to, minus Ral, double shock 2 creatures or something like that. And, I'm not sure how exactly this matchup is going to play out. I think it's just going to be a pure race. So do you want to just say best 5 since we got plenty of time?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Best 5 for the marbles.
And I'm on the play.
Yeah. That's bad.
Everything is happening exactly as I have foreseen.
I know. Well, I think it's pretty good. If I was on the play, I think I would win this game very easily. But we're not.
Well, I think this hand is fine, but it's certainly not stellar.
All right.
No 1-drop, so land go.
Ooh, that's good news for me. Go.
Okay, I have a runaway Steamkin. Please do not shock it.
Well, we're going to be digging for a shock. That's for darn sure. That's not great. All right, so I am going to Hinterland Harbor, and I'm going to main phase a Growth Spiral. I feel like I main phase Growth Spiral looking for shock a lot, which means I probably should just be playing a lot more.
1 mana removal spells.
Yeah. Your turn.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a pretty good draw. Vishino Pyromancer, get a counter on this. You take 2.
Yep.
Fanatical Firebrand, get a counter on Steamkin.
I really need him not to draw 1-drop. That's unfortunate.
So you're going to go to 14 when all's said and done. 2 from the
Yeah.
Pyromancer, 4 from combat. Pass the turn.
All right, now we need a Wilderness Reclamation would be perfect here. All right, didn't draw it. Just going to go ahead and Rouse Outburst this thing while it's at 3/3 and you're tapped out. Now what? So just keep the not shock land. Here you go.
Okay, land 4. It's Chain Whirl. You go to 13, and then attack you to 10.
Okay.
Pass the turn.
All right, outburst the Chain Whirler. Your turn.
End step, Wizard's Lightning you. You go to 7.
7. Now I just need him to draw 3 lands in a row.
Attack you for 3.
I'm at 4.
Play Chain Whirler. You go to 3.
I'm at 3.
Pass the turn.
Okay. What do?
So
his last card just probably lands, but I don't know. I'm going to cast an Opt.
I like that. Anytime your opponent's near dead and they're still casting cards like Opt.
All right. We're going to say... Well, I guess you could have, like, Land Frenzy. Or just draw. Okay. Can copy it. This stays alive.
I'm aware.
Your turn.
And unfortunately for you, my last card is a shock.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot I can do there. I fought tooth and nail. If I was on the play, I get to Growth Spiral. The turn he casts Steamkin, untap and blow up the Steamkin and draw a card or whatever. And I'm just so much better off.
Yeah. I mean, I barely limped. I limped over the finish line here. I dealt you exactly 20, with leaving myself with a 1/1 in play.
Yeah, I never had a turn off to cast Row, which would have given me like a lot more breathing room by just being able to like minus double outburst 2 creatures. So that was a really close game. It was closer than it looked. If I was on the play, I think I would have won that game pretty easily, which is not a complaint or anything. I mean, you only go first half the time, so
if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Ross,
Well, I guess some people who lose a bunch go first a lot.
Ross, what's the reasoning for your fight with fire in the sideboard? Is it strictly for Lyra?
So there's a lot of things that they deal with. There's Lyra, there's Murmuring Mystic, there's Niv Mizzet, Aurelia. But I would imagine Lyra is chief among those. So they can also handle a big Wild Growth Walker, though I don't think you bring them in that matchup.
Anything else for Mr. Rob?
Not at the moment.
All right. Let's get to it. Game 2. And my hand is not great. If we draw 2 lands in a row, could be okay. I guess I'll keep. We have an Opt. It's just my lands both shock me, and I don't want to do that.
Huh.
I love the noises you make sometimes.
This is quite the hand.
Just keep it. Give me a chance. Keep it. Give me a chance.
Okay.
All right. I'm not going to shock myself. Go.
Go.
Yes. Perfect. I tricked him. Go.
Shock you.
I light up the stage. Sure. Yeah. I'm at 18.
You can go.
Love card advantage battles. We'll bottom a blink of an eye. It's not very good in this matchup. I will play a Stomping Ground tapped. You're Gweep. You're in trouble.
Land Chain
Just want to let you know you're in a lot of trouble.
You're at 17.
I drew my Wilderness Reclamation, and I have Rouse Outburst with it, which I'm going to go ahead and just do it and kill your Goblin Chain Whirler. And we will keep... Do I want the land? I don't think I want the land.
Shock you.
15.
Light up the stage.
Yeah. Love it.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Skewer you.
Oh, no.
You're at 12.
Sure.
You can go.
All right. Draw. Let's go land tapped. Rowl.
Oh, no.
I'm going to minus untap.
Oh, no.
And I'm going to... I have to pay for it. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. 8 you.
I've spent my entire game and all of my cards to get you to 8. Or get you to 12. And you just did it so easily.
Oh, yeah. That's my deck.
I'm so jealous.
That's my deck. Do.
Attack you for 1.
I'm gonna shock this and deal you 1 with Row.
I go to 11.
That's just to potentially turn off, sure, other things.
You're up.
All right, untap, draw, land for turn. Row, and I'm just going to... What am I going to do? Just going to tick up Scry. Ooh. In a turn, trigger float to cast a opt with the blue floating. Keep this draw. Other floating, make a green, cast Growth Spiral. You're going to take 2 damage. Play my land.
So I'm at 9.
Here you go.
Risk factor.
I'll go to 8.
Go.
Okay. Land for turn, minus on Ral, end of turn trigger. Or play this, float a million, explosion you for 200.
In response, risk factor.
I'll go to 4. Nice. Nice. You did it. We won a game. That's all I wanted. Any questions for us, Rob, before we go to sideboards?
Yes. Kozar Lord wants to know, why are you running 27 lands?
So I'm using Blast Zone basically as just extra mana sources. We're really restricted on colors with how our mana base is built, and versus like our sideboard cards. Like I think 25, 26 land is the 25 or 26 lands that can cast Niv Mizzet is the minimum, and because sometimes even then you just draw like too many Breeding Pool Hinterland Harbors or whatever. I mean, there's a reason why we have 3 Hinterland Harbor in our deck, right? And Blast Zone, I wanted to get Blast Zone in the deck because I think it's good, and especially with Wilderness Reclamation after playing some in Simic, and it's been pretty strong. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with Blast Zone, but I'm treating it more like a spell that sometimes you just get to use it as a land.
Yeah, and that makes your Growth Spirals more reliable.
Yeah.
You have plenty of ways to use your mana in a lot of games with Chemist's Insight, which can also pitch extra lands. Ral's Outburst keeps the gas flowing, so Ral's another source of card advantage. So it makes sense. Look, the more card advantage that you have, the more land drops you want to make, because you're just going to have this huge volume of stuff, and you need to make all your land drops in order to deploy those extra cards efficiently. And that does increase your risk of flooding if you don't draw the card advantage or you're disrupted in some way. So adding lands that are spells gives you the best of both worlds, mitigates the flood while letting you consistently make your land drops. So all of the changes from War of the Spark incentivize you to increase your land count.
Yeah. Let's see one more if you got it.
Yeah. Right. Ross, what do you think of Tybalt in the board of the mono red decks?
I think it is quite good against the mono white decks because the tokens that you generate off of it are good, and it stops incidental life gain from Healer's Hawk or vampire tokens. That could be 3 or 4 life in a given game. It's going to be hard for them to want to attack it aggressively because you're going to be making those tokens, which either trade for 2 of their creatures or just trade straight up 1 for 1 if they have an Anthem effect. So I think it'll be good in that matchup. Whether or not it's the best option, I don't know, but definitely something to try out.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to take just a short break here while Ross and I prepare our sideboards. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for more Versus Live.
And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We're back here with sideboarding for Mono Red against Temur Reclamation. Pretty easy on my side. These war bosses are specifically for matchups like this, a card that can apply a lot of pressure all at once. Got a couple Fight with Fires that can handle Murmuring Mystic and Niv Mizzet, and we're cutting our worst burn spells. Definitely want to get the shocks out of our deck. And then the choice between Skewer, Wizards of Lightning, and Risk Factor is pretty close. I think I just want to cut down on the number of Spectacle cards in my deck so that my draws are a little bit more consistent. Mm-hmm. So I ended up cutting a Skewer, and we'll see how it goes. That might change for later games if I, get a more complete picture of what's going on.
Yeah. Since War Boss is becoming more and more common out of the mono red decks, I think a third Fire Cannonade is warranted to come in. But I don't think Cannonade is that good in this matchup. But War Boss is such a huge threat that I need something like that to just kill it and any tokens it generated on the turns prior. Aside from that, Murmuring Mystic, Niv Mizzet, these are just cards that I can play to potentially close the game more quickly while also having pretty good defense. Mystic's body is quite good at blocking, and if I ever get to untap with it, I feel like it's going to be pretty hard to lose outside of Ross just drawing a ton of direct damage. And then, of course, 2 Niv Mizzets just help close the game more quickly while also potentially shooting down a bunch of smaller creatures. It's not that good 6 mana is a ton, but if I, get some growth spirals in there and land it early enough, like I can actually just turn the corner and kill Ross in maybe 2 attack steps, maybe less.
Yeah. Notably on my side, you might be tempted to go bigger in this matchup where Todd has a good amount of cheap removal. And
I always want my opponents to go bigger.
Yes.
For whatever that's worth.
Like, Rekindling Phoenix is a card that gets brickwalled by Niv-Mizzet and Murmuring Mystic, and it is kind of slow. And then Experimental Frenzy, that's the kind of card you want to bring in matchups where it's going to take over the long game. And if the game goes long enough, Experimental Frenzy will not trump what Todd is doing, because what Todd is doing is literally going to kill me.
Yeah. So the cards I'm cutting, Chemist's Insight is obviously very strong in the deck and good against slower opponents, but we just don't have the time to cast Chemist's Insight. I think Raoul's Outburst does a really good job at being a Chemist's Insight proxy in this particular matchup, while also shooting down a creature at the same time. And then, of course, because we're bringing some more expensive cards, I want to trim 1 Expansion Explosion, which is really only going to be cast when I'm trying to kill Ross, or I'm just like trying to chain one into another. It's going to be pretty rare that I use the expansion half. Just don't have that much time. And then Blink of an Eye doesn't actually deal with anything. And honestly, I might actually just cut Blink of an Eye from my deck. It's been relatively unimpressive the times I've drawn it. Maybe just go back to Jaya's Greeting to have more ways to deal with Wild Growth Walker and Goblin Chain Whirler. 3 toughness is actually pretty annoying for me.
Yeah, you used to have Shivan Fires over the Shocks that could help you out against those things, but now...
I mean, Rouse Outburst, but costs 4. Anything for us before we get started for Game 3?
Yeah. Updraft Elemental wanted to know, is there any thought to having a Chandra in the 75 of the red deck, or is that just another light up the stage that is too expensive?
I think Chandra could be quite good. I'm not sure if it's better than Experimental Frenzy, though.
It's not. Not by all.
So...
Do you want a 5th Frenzy? Maybe.
Yeah, that's sort of what you have to ask yourself. It's competing with a really powerful card there, but I do like Chandra as a card.
Yeah, I think as a card, Chandra's phenomenal, but it's just you can't play it over Frenzy.
Again, like the
18-20 line deck or whatever.
You're looking for the best card for that specific role, and Frenzy is the best one. Chandra is a very good one. Cards like that have seen play in the sideboard of red decks for many years, but Frenzy just on another level. My hand is great.
So you're saying I should mulligan my bad one? Okay. In the dark, I would keep that against 90% of players or decks, but not this one.
And not when I tell you my hand is great.
Yes, that's for sure. I mean, it was like Rootbound Crag, Island, Opt, 2 Reclamations, Niv-Mizzet, something else that didn't matter. Like,
yeah.
I'm just going to get... If I don't have interaction for Ross or a Growth Spiral to ramp into something, I'm just going to get housed. So...
Got any more questions over there, Rob?
Yeah, DMT0294 wanted to know, did you think that there's a Gruul Monsters deck in the format that might be...
I think a deck like that could be good. I wrote about Domri in an article last week as a couple lists to that effect if you're interested in it. But I like Domri a lot, and I think being a secondary mana accelerator into your big cards is a game changer for it, in addition to everything else it does, playing well with Rekindling Phoenix.
All right, I'm at 19. We're playing Mono Red Mirror Match.
Attack for 1.
I'm going to try to turn off things and just go ahead and shock it.
Okay. Pyromancer, you go to 17.
Yeah.
You can go.
Okay. Well, Ross tricked me. This card should not be in my deck, but whatever. Go.
Runaway Steamkin.
Sure.
Fanatical Firebrand, trigger the Steamkin.
Yeah.
Attack for 3.
16.
14, right?
You
missed the trigger off the Pyromancer.
Yes.
You can go.
I'm dead, basically. Unless you have 2 lands in hand and draw a land for turn, and I draw a land next turn. Here you
go. Wizard's Lightning, you trigger this thing.
In response to the trigger, I'll copy it and target Steamkin.
Yeah, that'll do, Pig.
All right.
So you go to 11?
11. Take 3 from the attack down to 8.
Pass the turn.
Go.
End of turn, Lightning Strike you.
I'm at 5. Yep.
Attack.
Cannonade. Take 1 down to 4.
Play Chain Whirler, you go to 3.
Yep.
You can go. And this Firebrand Surviving
Yeah.
Cannonade is nice. Yeah, I've got a Wizard's Lightning.
There's no... I didn't want to bring in Niv, and Ross tricked me.
You told me to bring in Niv Mizzet when I played against Mono Red with this deck.
Different times. You didn't have Rouse Outburst back then.
Okay.
Things change, man.
Now you're just, I don't know.
What? Am I being mean?
No, I'm just surprised. I think it's very good.
I drew it there. Wasn't very good there.
I don't think you're winning that game 90% of the time. My hand was excellent, and I drew well from the opening hand.
Yeah.
I like an excellent curve of creatures, drew 3 lands and stopped, and then like 4 good burn spells. Basically an ideal hand.
All right. Just gonna cut the nibs, bring back in the blink and the expansion. Copying his burn spells to kill his creatures is something that does have some amount of value.
Yeah, with Steamkin, like you saw there, I'm incentivized to play some burn spells pre-combat to pump it, and then it was awkward because I couldn't cast both of them to get it to a 4/4.
Yeah.
Maybe I was supposed to just attack because that extra 2 damage was super relevant.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I miss my land drop. Like, I'm 99% dead no matter what happens, but...
Yeah.
All right, I'll be on the play for game 4. What's up?
Q Rule wants to know, what do you think about cutting Viashino Pyromancer for a Burning Prophet in a mono red list running Frenzy main?
For a what? A
It's
what
the
card?
1/3 whenever you play, I believe, non-creature
Oh,
spell.
the-
It gets +1/+0 and
You scry one.
scry one.
The issue is once you cut Pyromancer, then you almost assuredly have to cut Wizard's Lightning, which you just don't have enough wizards.
And then you just don't have that many non-creatures.
Yeah, and I don't think Burning Prophet is that powerful of a card. I go, maybe you can build a more like prowessy style mono red deck that has Prophet and Steamkin and Frenzy, but that's a different kind of deck. It's going to play cantrips and things. Might not even want to play, Chain Whirler or
Prophet is
something
a
like
wizard,
that.
apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, Prophet's a wizard. Okay, so you get an extra wizard back. I'm still not sold. I don't know. With the red decks have such efficient burn that also stapling it onto all your creatures, like Firebrand has haste and sacks to deal damage. Lava Runner has haste most of the time. The Pyromancer deals 2 immediately. Chain Whirler deals 1 immediately. All those numbers add up, and the higher density of them you can have in your deck, the better they all become.
And I don't want to... I mean, you can maybe cut something. Patrick Sullivan is under the impression that Viashino Pyromancer is the best card in the deck, and I am not going to argue with him. So I'm going to play Breeding Pool and say go.
I'm going to play Fanatical Firebrand and attack you for 1.
Yeah, 19.
You're up.
Drop.
Pyromancer is the kind of card that Pete Sully likes in his red decks a lot. Just super consistent. Always does what you need it to do. Attack for another 1.
18.
Put the Steamkin in the graveyard.
Yep.
You can go.
Your turn.
Attack you for another 1.
17.
Skewer you.
Sure. We're at 14.
And pass the turn.
In your turn, I'm going to shock the Fanatical Firebrand.
Yep.
Untap, draw, play a Reclamation, say go.
And step lightning strike you.
Yep, I'm at 11.
This is going to be a close one.
Yeah, I probably should have used... When I had the second shock, I probably should have used the first one, the Firebrand, like immediately, but...
Wizard's lightning you.
Okay, I'm at 8.
Skewer you.
I'm at 5.
You can go.
1 card in hand.
Yep.
Okay, make 10, explosion you for 6.
I'm at 14.
5, 6. I'm tapped out. Here we go. I got to discard 2 cards or so.
You're up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have to discard 1. Okay, untap. Draw for turn. Let's play a Row. Play a land. Let's...
So at this point, a
So minus
explosion is not going to be enough because you can generate 8 mana, cast it for 4, copy it. You've cast and copied a spell, so you get 2 triggers from the Ral to bring me to 12, and then 8 from the 2 explosions. So I'd go to 4.
Okay, I'm gonna minus Ral and trigger this.
Yeah.
Alright, float 2.
Yep.
I'm going to 8 you with Rouse Outburst down to 6.
Yep.
2. Take this.
You get another outburst.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yep.
Your turn.
Wizards lightning you.
Man, I really, just really want to draw an expansion so I could just kill you
Sure.
in response to that burn spell. Am I dead? Come on. I have this. Okay. I'm going to take a different line and try to actually kill you. 1 second. So I
Sure.
can keep this. All right. I thought about keeping an opt over a rouse outburst because I have shock. So
if you opted, you trigger the Ral, get made a 5.
yeah.
And then you need to find another shock. Or 2 more
actually,
opts.
Growth Spiral might do it. So Growth Spiral.
Because
Yeah,
that's
because I get to play a land and then shock you and then.
So Growth Spiral brings you to 4, and then the shock will bring me to 1.
Right, but I get. Okay,
So
sure.
you still need another spell.
Right, so you're at 4. Okay, here we go.
Okay. Wizards lightning you and lightning
I
strike.
can't kill you.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing I can do about that because I'm going to have to cast a lightning strike that you can eventually expansion.
Yeah.
But so one line you were able to kill me, the other one not so much.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't give Todd half a win on the thing, though.
That's fine. Ross wins the match and keeps the marbles because it's a tie. Classic.
Do we have time for another one?
Yeah, we got plenty of time.
Yeah, we got time for one more.
So why not just say I won the game so we can play one more and have it mean something?
Sure.
Yes. Now he's just gonna clown me. So it's fine. All right. No, I don't want to let him win twice. I should have probably just kept the opt because the odds of me dying there from 5 life were pretty high. I just assumed you had nothing, and I was just going off. But
Nope, I drew real well.
yeah, classic.
Classic. A lot of 3 damage burn spells.
It's true. I cannot keep this hand, I don't think. Yeah, I can. It's close, though. It's real close. All right, you're up.
Yeah, this is like a really good one. Lava Runner.
Go.
Attack for 1.
19.
Pyromancer, you go 17.
Okay,
You can go.
go.
Attack for 3.
Go to 15.
14, right?
14, yeah, sorry.
Light up the stage.
Yeah.
Huh. If I get this light up the stage, there's a decent chance I just can't cast everything.
Well, you probably can't cast everything, right?
And I could just...
You need to hit land. You haven't played a land yet, right?
Yeah, I've not.
You have to hit land to be able to do it all.
Yeah, but I do have 2 lands in my hand, so I could just cast these 2 next turn and then play what I hit off of them the following turn. I think that's better, so I'll just use my mana well and skewer you.
11?
Yeah, that brings you to 11 and pumps my Lava Runner. Pass a turn. This could end up with me running headfirst into a
Go.
Fiery Cannonade. Which means I think I'm going to play this weirdly and just attack for 4.
There, cannonade.
You're a jerk.
Sorry.
So now I can get either Light Up the Stage or War Boss here. With Todd at 11, I think I need to just War Boss. But it's probably just going to die to a Rouse Outburst, but yeah.
How did he know? So I'll keep the land. Actually, no. If you draw another light up the state or Legion War Boss, that's bad. So.
Well, I had another Legion War Boss already.
Okay.
Attack you for 1 with our Ben Friedman. You're 10. You can go.
Go.
I would like to go to the beginning of combat.
That's fine. I'll just cannonade them.
Had another cannonade like a jerk. Chain Whirler, you go to 9.
Yep.
You're up.
You have 1 card?
Yep.
Okay.
See, Nimbus would be really good here.
Go.
Attack.
I will Rouse Outburst it. Top 2. Keep this.
Chain Whirler, go to 8.
Yep.
You're up.
Crap. All right, whatever. Draw. Reclamation, float 2. Let's go 3, 4. Bounce this, draw. Go.
Chain Whirler. You did 7.
7?
Out and go.
7's a good number to be at.
Yep.
Draw. Play another reclamation, float 2.
So you go up to 16 mana.
16.
Yep.
Let's go.
Another land and a second explosion is lethal by itself. So if you're thinking about hitting me or the Chain Whirler, I think hitting Chain Whirler is better.
Yeah, I'm just gonna Chain Whirler for
12.
I don't think I need to do it for all of it, and I could
Okay.
draw some shocks or something. So
Yeah.
let's
Do it for 8. Leave up 4 mana so you can outburst.
So what is 7, 8,
That would be for
9, 10,
9.
11, 12, 13. Yeah, let's do it for 9.
Okay.
All right, so I draw 9. 6, 7, 8, 9, and I will move to discard. Okay.
War Boss.
I'm gonna shock it. Actually, I'll just cannonade it. Whatever.
You can
Go
go.
to discard still. Whatever. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay.
Am I dead?
Yeah, you're dead. Sorry.
Land explosion and I'm dead.
I just have another reclamation as well.
Yeah, or reclamation explosion.
Okay. So on the play, wait, I was on the
You're on the draw that game.
draw that game.
Yeah, the awkward turn on the light of the stage really set me back. I was hoping, like, I had a War Boss, so I was hoping to like get other things to do to force removal out of you. And instead, I hit a second War Boss and like a card that I ended up not being able to cast. So I mean, the War Boss ended up trading for a card, but the other light of the stage did nothing. So it was just a card that really cost me a lot of tempo then.
Sure.
And I'm not sure if I'm like supposed to just go for the light up the stage that turn. I did have a land on top. My top of cards actually land Wizard's Lightning, which would have been basically perfect. I would have played the land off the top and then had Wizard's Lightning up. And you would have, yeah. Even then, like, I'm just up another card. Like, you ended at 7 and I had that Wizard's Lightning in my hand. Even if the top card of my deck that I would have had access to is another Bolt, I'm 1 short.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about Temur Reclamation for just a few minutes. We got about like 10 minutes before we have to go.
Yeah.
So cards that looked impressive to me over the course of the whole thing. Rouse Outburst, no matter what matchup it was. Combined with Rouse, Storm Conduit was just like 8 damage, kind of seemingly out of nowhere in a lot of spots, and like allowed me to just like kind of roll over on the Esper deck when they didn't really apply any pressure, right? It's a card draw effect that can deal with Thief Sanity, which is a huge deal. And I mean, you saw in all the games against all the creature-based decks, it was just the best card every time. Like, it was nuts.
There was also a number of games where you just copied it with Ral and sent it upstairs.
Yeah.
And dealt 8 damage to me, and came pretty close to just killing me.
Yeah.
With that small ball plan. So I've definitely been very impressed by the card in the deck. I think it's a perfect fit. It does, inform the way the rest of the deck is built, makes shock better, so you get more burn to the face, makes other 3 damage burn spells worse, and you've adjusted to that. And and made Chemist's Insight worse. A card that was sort of a linchpin of the deck now is a little bit less necessary because you have more card draw. And one of the issues with the Chemisters is sometimes if you drew 2 of them early against an aggressive deck, you just didn't have time to deploy them. And that's a card that you're always going to have time to deploy because it interacts and generates card advantage. So
yeah, just look, it was an all-star for me. I'm gonna probably trim Chemist's Insight. I mean, I can maybe board one, I guess, against control. I don't know. I feel like I have too much air in my sideboard. Like the Sorcerer Spyglasses didn't feel like they were that good. The Gate feels not good against anything except the other Nexus decks.
You know, a card you could play against control decks is just your own Legion War Bosses.
Yeah, I've had Legion War Boss in a number of my sideboards with, various control decks as well as Temur Reclamation. My article from last week where I talked a little bit about Temur Reclamation, I had War Boss in my sideboard. But this one I was just trying. I thought Spyglass would be, like, as we were playing the games, like, I just never wanted to draw it. I mean, I guess there was like, when you transformed to Scanta, but I don't know. Whatever. We got any questions? I'm running out of things to say.
I agree. I just don't think that card's very high impact.
Yeah. We've had a few questions. What do you think about Living Twister against Aggro for Temur Reclamation?
Yes. Wow. Yes. Let me say it again. Wow. It's kind of hard to cast. Maybe is it red, green, or
I think
green,
it's
green, red?
green. It's red, green.
Okay.
That's much better than red, green.
Yes, it is. Actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
I assumed it would be red, green. That felt like a.
I don't know who suggested that, but can we give them VIP status?
There have actually been a few.
Okay.
I haven't asked until now. But...
Holy moly. Okay, yeah, so that's probably going to be in my sideboard because that card seems awesome. Is it like a 3-mana 2/5?
Yes.
The 2/5 to start, that's gigantic. And then also, what, just one discard a land, deal 2 to something? It has another ability, probably.
That's probably also good
Turn
against
a tapped land to your hand.
Trying tapped land. Sure.
It's probably good against Sultai too. Like, it just checks all of the creatures that they're using to pressure you, including what's its face, Wild Growth Walker, like that. Trying to get 4 triggers on that card is tough.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that card sounds sweet.
I'm doing it.
And you already have an increased land count.
Just think, if I have a Reclamation going, there's just going to be one big combo turn where I'm just like float, bounce them all, 12 ya, or whatever. That seems pretty sweet.
It can protect your Ral, like sit there and protect it from being attacked, so you just small ball them. You just get him for 8 with your outburst, and then...
I always discard extra lands, too. I have so many lands to discard. I am very excited now.
It's another card that makes Blast Zone a little awkward.
I'm just not going to play Blast Zone, I don't think. It was fine against
pretty
Walker.
good.
I just need... Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably cut Blast Zone down to 1. I'm just going to play 27 lands. I'm going to get the Rootbound Crag back in there, whatever I cut. I'm going to play some Living Twisters in the sideboard. I'm going to play 1 Blast Zone as just a 27th land. I don't want to play 28 lands, and I don't want to cut on colors. What else am I going to do? Yeah, Living Twister in sideboard sounds awesome. I'm probably going to try to cut the Blink of an Eye and maybe one other thing and play like 2 Jaya's Greetings. Because Jaya's Greeting felt a lot better for me when I was testing the deck some last week than Blink of an Eye felt today. I drew it like 3 times, and every time it was just mopey and bad.
Yeah.
And
the one time I played that deck, the Blink was also mopey and bad.
Okay, cool. Good talk. Good talk, everybody. Thank you so much, chat. Sometimes chat's right, and that's great.
Broken clock.
Yeah. Maybe Burning Prophet's the nuts. Who knows? Do we got anything else?
They wanted about putting Narset in your deck as well.
I've had a couple of iterations where I had Narset. I don't think that the static ability is nearly as good in Standard as it is in Modern or Legacy, and I think it is busted in Modern and Legacy, and maybe even Vintage, because people are just trying to draw a lot of cards and just shuts that down.
I believe I heard Suarez complaining about that and Karn the Great Creator for Vintage.
Yeah, no, those cards are really messed up for Vintage, which is super weird, because Vintage doesn't usually get cards that just do something so game breaking like that. Like,
you know what else is super weird? Talking about Vintage. No one cares.
Suarez cares. Commander versus own Jonathan Suarez runs. I don't know if he runs it specifically, but alongside Justin Parnell and a couple other people in the department, they have a vintage league. Okay.
Good for them. I don't care.
But what if the London Mulligan makes Bizarre Dredge that much better? Whatever. Okay, so how did you feel about the 3 decks that you played? And is there anything in particular you noticed that you didn't like that you might want to try to fix for anyone who's maybe thinking about picking up one of those 3 decks?
I noted this after the second set, but Teferi Time Raveler did not impress out of the Esper deck. It has been quite good out of the Esper midrange deck that I played on Tuesday, something that you can play proactively. But out of a deck that doesn't have a lot of proactive plays, it did not seem particularly good. So not impressed there. I don't know. The red deck and the Sultai deck, they sort of are what they are. I do think Liliana, Dreadhorde General, is an incredibly powerful card. So I like that it slotted in, even though it wasn't particularly good in this matchup.
I don't know that it's... I mean, I do think the card is awesome. And I think it definitely deserves a home in a deck with a bunch of creatures. And this probably means playing green. But, like, is it that much better than Vraska, Relic Seeker? Like, how much better? You drew 5 cards and lost.
Yeah, but this is the exact matchup.
If it was a minus to kill the Wilderness Reclamation, you would have won very easily.
If you're talking specifically about a Reclamation deck, sure, I'd rather have Vraska. Against literally every other deck in the format, I would rather have Liliana.
But that's coming back to the Teferi. Is that also a thing where maybe Teferi was not good in this matchup, but you'd want it against if you were expecting a field with a lot of Simic Nexus in it? Like,
yeah,
I don't know how that matchup would play normally.
I do think the it's better against Simic because they are more reliant on Reclamation. You know, the Temur deck can get by without it. They can play Niv Mizzets and stuff. You know, the Simic deck does have that sideboard plan where they bring in a bunch of creatures, but one of the creatures that they're often sideboarding now is God Eternal Kefnet, and I believe God Eternal copies it, and you can cast the copy, which means Teferi static ability shuts you down from being able to cast it because you're trying to cast it in instant speed.
That's true.
Granted, the 4/5 flyer should be able to pressure the Teferi, so there's some tension there. But
you're also just like using Teferi in that spot to bounce the Kefnet most of the time, and like that is so backbreaking tempo wise to like play this card that completely messes over your strat, but also just like shuts down your alternate win cons.
And even things like bouncing Search for Iskanta and forcing them to commit more mana later is good. You can bounce their Wilderness Reclamation, which then makes it really difficult for them to redeploy the Reclamation and deal with the Teferi. They usually have to spend 2 turns doing that.
Also, if you just have a counterspell at the ready, they can't interact with the counterspell because of Teferi's static ability. So
if they're going for Biogenic Ooze, like normally you're going to point the removal at the Ooze, and then the Teferi just cleans up the token. So there's a lot of things that it can do in that matchup that's also pretty good. And they don't have as easy ways of dealing with it. Like you were able to use Rouse Outbursts and Shocks and stuff to answer it. Simic doesn't really have that. They have Blink of an Eye.
They have like 3, maybe 4 Blast Zones. I think that's going to be their primary answer. They usually load up on Blink of an Eye. And I know Brian Gottlieb was advocating for playing Callous Dispersal or Callous Dismissal as like, your Blink of an Eye proxy for your actual win condition, which seems...
So they've got some ways of dealing with it, but it's certainly better in that matchup. But I also think I can see Teferi in the Esper deck also underperforming in other matchups like Sultai, just the sort of normal decks. Whereas if you're playing it proactively and cast it and then mess with their ability to time their removal spells or play other disruption while also threatening a second bounce a couple turns later, it's going to be a lot more effective. So it's just a less effective card in a reactive deck because that ability is an ability that wants you to be pushing that tempo advantage. And reactor decks don't do that very well.
All right. Well, there we are going to call it quits for the day. Okay, before we go though, Ross, I want to know, what did you actually think about the Temur Reclamation deck? Did it feel like you got really unlucky in the games you lost, or did you feel like you were like, how did playing against the deck make you feel, and what do you think about it?
So I was impressed by its ability to just keep churning through a lot of disruption. So I felt like there was pressure on me to put you under a clock because you weren't going to fold. A little bit more so than previous lists of the deck, previous iterations. I was initially surprised that it didn't perform as well against Sultai, though you did crush me in the 3 games we played before we went live. And then
Those marbles should be mine.
you know, you did better against Red than I expected, and better against Esper than I expected.
And I think that doing better against Red is almost 100% attributed to
Raoul's
Outburst. And if I can just bridge the gap and get some Jai's Greetings or something in there to have like one more potential removal spell in those early turns to just prevent me from taking a large chunk of damage that I wouldn't necessarily need to take, like that, it's all about finding the right balance. And I think Jai's Greeting is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I need to find a way to put it back in, I think.
Well, I mean, Outburst is a great answer to Benelish Marshall. Greeting would do well there.
Yep.
So I think if you can help out, those are the matchups that you really feared playing with the Reclamation deck, is the aggro deck. So if Outburst helps those considerably, and then Ral is going to help out some of the other matchups, I'm impressed. Though, with all of the hype that Simic Nexus is getting, you know, you're going to take some splash damage.
Yeah, I mean, you were boarding, what, 10, 11 cards in the mid-range and control matchups, and, like, I was still doing okay. And that, to me, that, like, I don't want to play against 10, 11 sideboard cards every round, but at the same time, like, I'm just winning sometimes anyway.
Yeah. I mean, you have an easier time getting around that disruption because you're not as reliant on Reclamation. So, on the one hand, you can say, well, you're going to take more splash damage from everybody preparing for Nexus. On the other hand, you can say that if you want to be playing a Reclamation deck because they're really powerful, then this is the one that is going to be better at fighting through all of that hate than the Simic Nexus deck is. Yep. No, I came away pretty impressed by it, though. I mean, I was happy playing it 2 months ago or whatever at the team open when I did.
2 months ago?
Something like that. I don't know.
Sure, whatever. Okay.
I've been to so many cities since then, it feels like 2 months.
2 weeks. Or sorry, this weekend. I don't know. You got me 2 weeks ago. I don't know, whatever. This weekend, SCG Richmond. We got Cedric Phillips, Patrick Sullivan. Believe it is Jerry and Brian Gottlieb. Thank you. Going to be the commentators for that. You can check out all that action. Starts Saturday morning at 10:30 Eastern
local time.
10:30 Eastern, and should be really fun. New standard format featuring War of the Spark. You've probably already had your hands on it a little bit playing it on Magic Arena, and it's been really sweet so far. So
if you can make it out to Richmond, both Todd and I will be there. Be sure to say hello. Give us a high five.
Yeah, bring me some snacks and some Red Bulls.
I got some snacks in London. An Australian player gave me a box of Tim Tams.
Wait, was it Jessica Stefan? She was talking about bringing Tim Tams.
No, it was somebody whose name I don't remember. I'm sorry, but thank you for the Tim Tams. I haven't cracked into them yet. Actually, they're still sitting in my suitcase.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Really
I don't want to eat a full box of Tim Tams.
I really like Tim Tams.
Are they really good?
Really good.
Because I've never had them before.
They're basically like really good Kit Kat bars.
Ooh, I like Kit Kat bars.
Yeah. All right. Well, unless you got any pressing concerns, Rob, I think we're going to close it.
We got some subs.
Oh, yep. I almost forgot the subs. Can't do that.
No,
Can't forget the
don't.
subs.
So our subs today: Blade Knight 88, Ricard Daz 1990, Narma Chi Eli, and Cypress. Thank you for subscribing.
Are any of those resubs? And
I
do you know
believe that they were all resubs. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Awesome.
Well, appreciate the support, everybody. Thanks for watching Versus Live. I know you could be watching a bunch of different shows right now. I know there's actually a tournament going on, a bunch of other streamers and stuff, but we appreciate
They're here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, thanks for watching Versus Live from StarCityGames.com. For Ross Merriam, I'm Todd Anderson, and we'll see you next week.